everyone, Sarah here. Okay, this is a update video, okay? Because I said in a previous video that I posted that I was planning on doing a lot of reading over the last 2 weeks. That did not happen. Okay, I had a list that I wrote out in this book. Where are you? My list, come to me. Here. And I had 4 books I wanted to get read in the 2 weeks, because, let me explain. I started holidays, technically, last week on the 1st of June. That was the start of my holidays. And then we got an email telling us that, hey, wait, we're going to have the exams on the 13th and the 14th. So don't get too comfy. No, not 13th. The 10th and the 11th. I don't know. So don't get comfy. You should start studying for those. And I just got pissed off, okay? I had just done 10 assignments in 1 week. I was not in the mood to go and do an exam. Especially since starting on Monday, I have placement for 2 weeks. And we have been informed that our schedule is going to be much like an actual nurse's, so really eclectic. So one day it could be 9:30 to 3:30, and another day 3:30 to 9:30 at night. I don't know. It's gonna be whack, and I'm gonna be exhausted because those are gonna be 8-hour shifts, and so I was like, okay, I was really hoping I could have the 2 weeks off just to relax and unwind, and then I'd study in the final 2 weeks of my holidays, because we're supposed to get 6 weeks off, but now we've got placement in the middle, so that's not happening. And then we get told like a week later that exams, okay, we can relax, they're not happening. Oh, actually no, it was during a revision session. They're not happening until later on. And now I've been told we're going to be having them in the first week of July. So I'm going to have to study on placement, because I did a little bit of study, and then when I found out that they were going to be postponed, I stopped, because I was just like, I reject this. I'm done. And so that happened, and I just got extremely annoyed, which is never good for going into books. And the other thing that happened is Josh Gad did an amazing thing. He did the one Zoom to rule them all. He reunited the Lord of the Rings cast for a Zoom session, and it was everything, okay? I'm wearing my Even Star necklace in honor, and I love Lord of the Rings. This was very nearly going to be a Lord of the Rings tag video, and then I decided, no. I owe you guys an explanation. So, I just got extremely obsessed. I am currently in the process of doing a Lord of the Rings journal, and I started watching and finding really cool edits on YouTube and reading fan fiction. So while I haven't read books, I've read one fan fiction that's over 300,000 words. So that's like all of the Lord of the Rings books put together. So don't tell me I didn't read. I just didn't read books. And then I was like, oh, I want to start the Silmarils. I haven't yet, but I was just like, that would be epic, starting the Silmarils. And then I was like, oh, you shouldn't. You've got other books to read. But then I was just like, oh, Middle Earth, it's calling me home. And it was a whole thing. So, the 4 books I initially planned to get done in this week are Eragon by Christopher Paolini, because I am due for a reread of Eragon. I've not read this since my time at boarding school. It is due for a reread, okay? And I want to do a book talk after reading it, so you guys can know my thoughts and feelings on this wonderful, wonderful series. So I was like, yeah, I gotta do Eragon. Now, the next one is the one you've probably been waiting the most impatiently for, and that is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. As you can see, I am sort of there. If I really pushed myself tomorrow, I could probably finish it. The trouble is, I'm highlighting at the moment. Here's a good example. Yellow does not stand out on pages. There we go. I'm highlighting at the moment, and that's just zapping my will to read it because I'm finding it annoying. Highlighting is more annoying than I thought it would be. It really is. Also, I lost my green tabby things for a bit. I found them, but I did lose them, and that was annoying me. Okay, so that was another book I was hoping to read. And the third book was A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. Now you'll see I've done a review for A Game of Thrones, and I was really excited to get into the second book and give it a good read, and this is the illustrated edition, but it's a slightly different illustrated, so I wanted to get my thoughts on this one as well. But even though I haven't read it yet, I think I'm going to go back to the original illustrated way I was reading it, because I think I like that better. But, yeah, I really just wanted to read this. This I know is probably going to be the hardest for me to get through, because this, I'm pretty confident, is the one with the red wedding. That's why it's a Clash of Kings, because it's got the 5 kings. So it's the War of the 5 Kings, so I'm pretty sure at the end of the book we're going to have to deal with the red wedding, and I'm going to be an emotional wreck. So, we have that loveliness to look forward to in this. And also, I got up to like page 10 before I forced myself to put it down. And Missandei is already here, and I'm like, great, we've got the priestess of R'hllor. Because the thing, she burns people alive, okay? That's never good. And the final book I was going to read is my nemesis. It's my book Nemesis. I've been trying to read this since the start of this year. And that is City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. I have been stuck at chapter 2 since January. I just can't get into it. I just can't bring myself to read it. Like, I know I have to because I want to read them in publication order, and I really, really want to read Clockwork Prince because I adored Clockwork Angel. But I'm already annoyed. Simon is stuck in a love triangle, and Camille has turned up, and Clary is obsessed with Jace. None of that is making me want to read it. Like, as a character, I actually like Simon. I do. And I have a soft spot for Clary, but the actions they're taking at the moment, I'm not loving. And I'm pretty sure Sebastian turns up in this book. That's another thing that's not helping the situation, because I hate Sebastian. So I am trying to bring myself to read this. It's the shortest of the books, and I know it's not going to be the hardest one for me to read. That's going to be City of Lost Souls. That is going to be so hard, because City of Lost Souls is when the best couple breaks up, Magnus and Alec. And my babies! So that one is going to be a difficult one to read. And the final thing that has slowed my reading life is everything that's happening in the news lately. In America, but a bit here in Australia too. So the whole Black Lives Matter movement, like, I love it. This is what we need. Okay, we need change. But I get upset for the fact that we need it, because this should have happened decades ago, centuries even. We're all people. And as a part of my course, I had to do a bit of research into Indigenous people here in Australia. And what I read and discovered broke my heart. I couldn't believe they went through. Why? Why did you treat them like that? Okay, for those of you who don't know, who aren't in Australia or just haven't done the research, Indigenous people in Australia did not get basic human rights until 2005. 2005 to get basic rights. Are you kidding me? These are people who have been systematically persecuted since white people got the idea to come to this country. And you haven't even given the courtesy to give them rights until 2005. We've had formal apologies and stuff, but what we need is a proper change. Okay, Indigenous people are still dying needlessly in this country. And it can't stand. Okay, I lived in Tasmania for 2 years, and when I found out what happened, I cried for 10 minutes. The Indigenous people of Tasmania were forced to move or were killed systematically until there's none there anymore in Tasmania. They call it the Black War, and there's question as whether it should be called a genocide or not. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That is a genocide right there. You systematically persecuted and wiped out an entire race. How did that doesn't sound like a genocide to you? How could you do that to a fellow human being? The Indigenous people have a rich cultural heritage. They are people just like us. Just because they believe a different thing or act a little differently does not make them worthy of condemnation. We need to treat everyone as equals. We're all people. We all make mistakes, but none of us deserve to be condemned for them. I am firmly of the opinion that only God can end life, which is why I'm glad Australia doesn't have the death penalty. But unless it's like self-defense, when you choose to take someone else's life, you are saying that their life doesn't matter. And you do not have the right to do that. You do not have the right to judge someone because they're different from you. You need to treat everyone with the respect and courtesy you desire. And I was raised a Christian, right? And I still am a Christian. And the second commandment that Jesus gives us is to love your neighbor as yourself. With the way you've been acting, you must hate yourself. God made each of us. He loves each and every one of us. We have no authority on this earth to hurt another. Sorry, it's just something that's been upsetting me lately. I'm about to make a post on my Instagram about it, and Facebook, because I can't believe it. 2005. We're supposed to be evolving as a species. This is supposed to be the 21st century, the century of acceptance. I'm not seeing anything. We now have the internet and Google and stuff like that to help us find out more information about one another. And yet people still choose to attack people who are different. What is wrong with you? Okay, I'm gonna stop, otherwise it's not gonna end well. Thank you for listening to that. Yeah, I guess it had been affecting me more than I thought. I just want to go cry now. Okay, thank you for watching this. I'm sorry for the lack of bookish videos lately. Well, the one I'm about to post is actually very bookish, but I'm sorry for the lack of book reviews. I know I've promised things and I haven't fulfilled them, and I feel absolutely terrible about that. I'm really trying. I'm trying to teach myself video editing, and I'm beginning to realize the video editor I have is a piece of garbage because it's not doing things I've seen YouTubers do. So, just thank you for your patience, guys. And if you have any ideas for a video or a book or something you'd like me to read, please let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so I've changed my outfit because this is a different day, but I realized in my last video I didn't address something else negative that's been going on in the world. And it breaks my heart that this has been going on as well. And I really need to discuss this because I've been watching my YouTubers talk about it and Instagram, and it's everywhere, and I just really needed to bring this up as well. And that is J.K. Rowling in her freaking flipping tweets has been denying the rights of the transgender community and the transgender people. She says transgender women aren't women and transgender men aren't men. And I'm like, excuse me, but they are. And I find this so heartbreaking and painful because Harry Potter is a series that teaches you to love and accept everyone, and not to trust the media, not to follow the general populace. Don't be a sheep. Bah, bah. But apparently, she is not going along with the stuff that she taught in her books. And when someone who has as many followers as she does something like this, it's insane, because it's going to influence thousands, millions of people around the world. And like I said, I've been watching YouTubers talking about this, so I'm actually in the middle of Book Roast's video, because she does the awesome magical readathon, and I haven't got to the point where she explains what she's going to do further on, because I just wanted to record this video while I thought of it, because I didn't want to forget it again, because it cannot be forgotten again. But I will link it below for those of you that are interested. And Seamus Gorman's video, he talks about his experience in the Harry Potter community, and he describes the camps that the Harry Potter fans are in at the moment. I'm in camp 1, separating the art from the artist. So I will still buy Harry Potter stuff. I've already, I pre-ordered it. The Harry Potter, The Order of the Phoenix, Ravenclaw edition, hardback. And I've got up to the 5th book, guys. I'm not stopping until I've got all of them in the Ravenclaw series. And yes, I know this is giving money towards a person who's being extremely derogatory and just awful right now. But I'm choosing to believe that the money I'm giving her, she's going to send straight to Lumos, her charity. But that's probably naive of me to think that, but I still really want the Harry Potter stuff, because Harry Potter means so much to me. And what she says doesn't make sense at all. This isn't something I've seen anyone bring up, but do you remember Nymphadora Tonks and her son Teddy Lupin? They're freaking metamorphoses. Metamorphi? And that means they can change their appearance at will. If Tonks can change her mouth into that of a duck's bill, she can change her gender at will. For all we know, Tonks could have actually been born a boy. and then decided, no, she was a girl. I mean, that's unrealistic considering her name is Nymphadora and she complains constantly that her mum gave her that, but I'm just saying. You know, that... Or Teddy later on could decide that, actually, I'm not a guy, I'm a girl. And fully change his gender, and that wouldn't be a problem because he's a metamorphagus. If Tonks can keep her hair pink for years at a time, I'm sure changing your gender wouldn't be that difficult. So, J.K. Rowling literally wrote characters that can do that, and that's not even getting started on the Polyjuice Potion. So, you hypocrite. You freaking hypocrite. So, my heart goes out to the transgender community because they've already suffered so much. Starting with just people not understanding the basics about them and refusing to, without J.K. Rowling attacking them for no good reason. And, well, there's no reason to do this sort of thing. So, there's never going to be a good reason. Honestly, I'm of the opinion, if you want an author to look up to, look up Rick Riordan. He's amazing, okay? His books are representation for all things, and in his books you have characters who are straight, who are gay, who are of all races. There's even a character who's gender fluid, and another who's non-binary, and another who's bi, and we see gay couples all of the time. It's a wonderful series. So, if you're looking for good representation, look no further than Rick Riordan's books. And he actually did an amazing speech that I will try and link in the description down below. I gotta find it somewhere. Where he was talking to the parents who were all up in arms because their children are reading books that included their LGBTQA plus community. I believe that's the acronym now. It changes so many times and I already have a spelling disorder. It's not great for me. And yeah, and he explains exactly why they're in there. And it's because, and I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly, it's like, because they're people and they deserve to be included in my story. And this is the world your children are growing up in. And while I will never truly understand what the transgender people have to go through, because I'm happy with the way I was born, I'm happy being a girl despite the pain of periods, the frustration of bras, but I am demisexual, and not a lot of people understand what that is. So I have to explain it every time I bring it up, and I can only imagine how much harder that is when you have to do it every time for your gender, and you have to get defensive about it. I can't truly understand, but I can understand a little, and I am so sorry you have to go through that. And I'm hopeful that the Harry Potter community will continue to rise against this. Seamus Gorman made a fantastic thing when he said, you can buy unofficial Harry Potter merch. Unofficial Harry Potter merch is amazing, okay? It's gorgeous. You can watch the fan films. You can watch Harry Potter creators on YouTube, Instagram, and other things. You can read the fan fiction if you don't want to support her books. There's so much amazing Harry Potter fan fiction. And you can go looking for Harry Potter fan fiction where people have made the characters gay or bi or transgender even, if you want your representation in the Harry Potter world. Look into the fan fiction community. Though, I do warn you, some of the ships are a little cray. Like, I get people ship what they ship, but Harry with Voldemort, really? That's what we're doing, Harry with Voldemort. you scare me a little. But yeah, if you go looking knowing that some of the ships are going to be you'll be fine, and you'll find some amazing gems. And I am, again, just so sorry you're going through this. And I truly wish you didn't. And I hope she learns her lesson soon, because from what I've seen, the majority of the fandom is in open revolt against her. We are furious. Like, I still want to see the Fantastic Beasts films, but I pray that they don't have anything to do with her stupid points of view. Like, Eddie Redmayne and Daniel Radcliffe and a bunch of others have already condemned what she's saying, so I doubt it's going to affect the films too much or at all, because they don't want to have any part of it. But we'll see. And what else was there? I should probably also just bring up, because a lot of people are going to be really confused, because, you know, I'm a Christian, so you're like, oh, if you're a Christian, you must be against transgender people. No. I believe God made us who we are. And if you feel like you're a boy in the body of a girl, or a girl in the body of a boy, and you need to change that, then God would have done that. He would have made you feel that way. And I know it's a terrible way to look at it, because you're suffering because of it. But maybe put it as a way to test us. He loves each and every one of us. And we should love each and every one on this planet. No one should be treated differently because of who they are. In the wise words of Mewtwo, I understand now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It's what you do with the gift of life that determines who you truly are. And I will ask God someday about this, because I truly can't think of a good answer. I mean, one answer I have is that he now has given us the technology to fix that. It's expensive, but we do have it. And I like to believe he wouldn't have given us the ability to come up with that technology if he wasn't okay with it. But then again, he also gave us the ability to come up with the technology for the atomic bomb. And I'm pretty sure he isn't okay with that. But there is a difference between the two. The technology to change your gender doesn't hurt anyone. The atomic bomb hurts millions. And I think that's the key difference here. When someone changes their gender, they're not hurting anyone. They're just changing for themselves. They're just changing into who they want to be. It's no different than me bleaching my hair, despite the fact that God gave me dirty blonde hair. Focus. Or wearing contacts when I need glasses. It's just fixing something that we think that is wrong. I'm not doing a good job of explaining this. I don't know. God loves you, and I love you. And I refuse to believe he'd create people just to condemn them. So I will pray that humanity will get better, and that you will get the treatment you deserve, which is the same treatment as everyone else. Basic human decency, and kindness, and respect. And yeah, okay, I've waffled. This is 13 minutes long. I'm coming off placement in this part of the video. I've just done my first week of placement, and I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I am not mentally competent right now. I had to get up at 4:30 for the past 4 days. It's a miracle I'm awake right now. But I felt I had to address this as well. Just know that I'm praying for you. And I hope things get better. See you in the end credits. Hi everyone. Okay. Okay, so this is just a tail on end to this video. You can see it's been spread out over several days. I've been thinking a lot about this video and working on it, and I just wanted to try and convey what I'm feeling at the moment, and I've gone over it with my best friend to death, and okay, I'm not loving this lighting right now. That's as good as it's gonna get. Welcome to Australia, where the sun sets at freaking 4 p.m. in the afternoon, apparently. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. And yeah, so like I said, I've been going over it with my best friend to death, and you saw her in the last video, so you know who she is. And something we thought I didn't bring up was the fact that I spent 10 years of my childhood, from the ages of 6 to 16, in Tanzania, East Africa, in Iringa. So it's not like I was living in Dar es Salaam. It's not the capital city, but it's the most built up, it's the most developed, I suppose you'd say, of all the cities. It was a town, it wasn't a city, Iringa. And there were very few white people around, and when I was at boarding school there was only 6 of us in my class of 71. So I find it baffling when I come back to the so-called developed Western world, and people are being persecuted because of the colour of their skin. That they're having judgments placed upon them because of that. When I lived in Africa, sure, there were some judgments. Like, I was white, so I was automatically deemed to be wealthy. And I suppose in some aspects, when I compare to living in the villages, say, I was. And I was definitely privileged. But I wasn't well off. We've always lived on the border between low socioeconomic and middle. And yeah, and judgments placed upon and assumed I wouldn't understand things. And truth be told, I probably wouldn't, because I wasn't raised that way. But other than that, no one was persecuted for what colour their skin was. Yeah, in this part of the world we are, and we're all human. We all have the right to live the way we want to live, provided you're not hurting anyone else, okay? The way you want to live hurts someone else, then I'm sorry, but you can't. And people shouldn't have to worry. They shouldn't have to teach their kids to fear the police, to fear authority figures. They should just be able to live. Childhood should be about innocence and play, and just having fun. And it's not what's happening. Children are taught to fear. That's not okay. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit. But yeah, I grew up in Africa. I grew up in the rural part. We would have regular power cuts. We didn't have much water. And so I like to think that I don't have that much bias, but I might. And I don't know it. So I'm doing what my booktube suggested, and I'm educating myself. I am reading. And this book is about America, this book is about Britain, and my parents are going to send me a book about Australia. But the feelings and the thoughts that come out of this should be across the board. I will do book talks for these. They're very short, so I'm hoping to read them very quickly. So one is White Fragility, Why Is It So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism by Robin DiAngelo. And the other is Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo-Lodge. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And yeah, I'm hoping this will open my mind so that I can see if I have my own biases and I can change them. Because on the Pottermore quiz, it asks, what would you most hate to be called? And every time I chose ignorant. I don't ever want to be ignorant. I want to understand people and their culture. I want to treat everyone the same, with respect and dignity. So yeah, that's what this video is about. It's just me being like, hey, I just want to treat you guys the same. I just want to... Okay, I can't be friends with everyone because obviously that's not going to work. But I want to at least be friendly with everyone. And I'm going to be a nurse, hopefully. And with that, I'm going to give everyone the same medical care. No one is going to get better or worse medical care while I'm around. And that is the change I feel I can bring to the table. So, I don't know if you would have enjoyed this video, and I can't remember now if I did an end screen to any of my things, so I'm going to do one right now. Because I've done like 4 or 3 different recordings for this. I'm putting them all together and you'll see my outfit changes. So, yes. If you liked the video or you agreed with anything I said, leave a like. If you didn't, you're welcome to leave a dislike, but also leave a comment so that I can know why you didn't agree. And if it's just because you're racist, then okay. But if you feel I said something that offended you or hurt you, please let me know so that I can acknowledge and start to change that. Okay? And yeah, this is going to be a very controversial video and demonetization, but considering I'm not getting any money anyway, that doesn't matter. The recording stopped, so clearly I've been babbling. Alright, yes, so if you liked it, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. My previous video will be over here, and I really hope this helped you understand where I'm coming from. Alright, see you next time, guys. Bye!